Coca Cola is facing controversy for recreating an iconic holiday themed ad campaign using artificial intelligence. Coca Cola had set out to recreate its iconic Holidays Are Coming campaign from 1995, portraying Santa Claus delivering bottles of the soft drink to people. But the ads have not been received well online. The company is not the first to receive criticism over the use of AI for marketing purposes. Toys R Us use AI to also create ads and face similar criticism online. Joining me now is Tony Chapman. He's a marketing analyst and founder of Chatter AI. Does that give us some idea about what your position is on this? Tony, good to see you today. So why do you think Coca-Cola, which always creates iconic ads, decided to use AI?
And Coca-Cola that has spent a century talking about being the real thing.
Right, good point.
And so, I listen to here we've got as a world driving for efficiency. The concept of a brand commanding this premium price and margins disappearing as there's so much choice and consumers really don't identify anymore, am I a Coke or a Pepsi drinker? So price becomes paramount. So they try to drive costs out. And this is what we're seeing is a drive for efficiency. But we're also seeing is how good AI is getting in terms of taking the human imagination and bringing it to life. This isn't a particularly good ad, but it's certainly a demonstration of things to come.
So I'll get to that point in just a second, but I do want to ask you why you feel, especially in the creative world, why people feel so strongly and get so upset about the use of AI.
It's the same reason that when studio musicians were no longer invited into the studio because the artist that created the score could use computer-generated music to really bring their imagination. They didn't have to wait for people to come in. They didn't have to talk about collaborating anyway. They just had a creative vision. They wanted to bring it to life. And there was a huge debate about it for good reason, because a lot of drummers and bass players and studio musicians were suddenly no longer wanted. And that's the reality of AI. The sad thing about AI, and the thing we have to all be very frightened about, and I've been talking about it for a decade, it is going to displace so many jobs that are transactional, that are simply there because they perform a task. As good as you are, you could be the best session drummer in the world, but if you're transactional, you're not contributing to the music, just simply playing it, AI is going to replace you. And that is this existential question we have to face as humanity. What are we going to do? Because the vast majority of people do transactional jobs versus transformative jobs. And that is the essential problem that we're going to deal with as a society, not just this year, but for a decade to come.
So in terms of the impact on Coca-Cola, we mentioned Toys R Us. Will it hurt sales? I mean, what does it actually do to a brand's image?
10,000 messages a day coming at us, 70% are negative. It's going to bounce off the consumer like everything else. I mean, we certainly saw it even in the U.S. election. Very little sticks nowadays. What it does say, though, to the people that are criticizing this ad, I agree. There's just too much going on. AI took every iconic moment, Rockwell Santa Claus, polar bears, the truck, everything, and threw it all together, a little bit of Lion King stolen music beat, I think, and they created an ad with it. It's not a great ad. But what we got, so is the first car is not a great car compared to a horse. What we got to realize, for those who have imagination, those who have creativity, your ability to express it will have no limits because of AI. So Coca-Cola's got a blowback for the average consumer. It's going to blow back from the creative community. But AI is here. I wish it had never been invented, but it's absolutely part of it. I'm embracing it in terms of what I'm doing. What we have to recognize, though, is for those that embrace it and harness it, it'll be transformative. For those that fear it, try to lock themselves in this bar of status quo, you're in trouble. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If you're not jumping in on this right now, you're going to see the world pass you by very quickly.
Gee, Tony, thanks for that. I think the one unintended consequence of this ad is it kind of makes you nostalgic, not just for Coca-Cola, but for 1995, before we were talking about AI.
Well, it was, and this was about, happiness, and Coca-Cola is about retro, and it was just about beautiful, identified with it because it was kind of the good old times. What I don't understand with Coca-Cola is why they didn't embrace what's happening in the States, which people want America that it used to be. Whether you believe or not what's going to happen, they voted for that. Why Coca-Cola didn't go in on that insight and embrace it and sort of just say, sometimes with all the noise in the world and the negativity, just sitting down, opening a Coke and having a conversation with somebody face to face is certainly a better way of going about the world than what we're seeing right now. And I don't understand why they didn't jump on that, because that's what Coca-Cola should be, a lubricant for humanity, as opposed to what this is just really just a visual orgasm of everything or AI can create in 90 seconds. And I just think they missed it. But please understand, creativity, your imagination with AI holds no boundaries. Embrace it. And even in your world, I mean, the fact is, I know how your creativity and how you imagine news stories, you're going to be able to bring those to life. So that it's for the people that want to be part of the future. It's there for you. For people that fear the future, I'm afraid you've got very good reason to fear it.
Tony Chapman, he's a marketing analyst. Tony, good to see you this morning. We'll take a short break and be right back.